Hey, I'm going to do a quick demo of the star points for Carolina Mingle Quilt. If you've never seen foundation piecing before, it might, need something you need a visual with. Now, I want to clarify, this is not paper piecing. This is fabric foundation piecing. So if you've ever, if you have a bunch of antique quilts, you may have seen this before in some of those quilts. I'm only going to show you one side of the star point. There's, 2 star points on the quilt for each side, so a total of 8. But 4 of them are made the exact same way, and then the opposite 4 mirror the original ones. So, you know what star points do. All right, so let me turn this camera around and then show you. All right, so here's what it looks like once you get it pinned. This is a single star point, or like this, and then there'll be another one that is its opposite. I'm going to show you that as soon as I get this other side done, but this is what we're doing. And so let's do the next one together. All right, now I've gone ahead and marked. There's my mark. There is my benchmark. All right, we're going to take these A strips. So you're starting with your A strips, and A is the most difficult. After that, they're very fluid. All right, so we're going to flip this, right sides together. And you're not going to put it like that. All right, we're going to go above the line. So there's a line. I want to make sure, I get into that corner right there. And then on this one, I'm getting, right there at that corner. So just like that. And what I want you to notice here is that there's only a little bit of overhang here, but there's a lot more overhang here. And that's the way you want this, maybe even a little bit more. Because when we sew this, it's going to go like that. All right? And it's got a lot further to go through here than it does up here. So put your overhang more heavily here. And this is what I'm calling overhang. This is just a little overhang. This is the majority of the overhang. All right, so get them in the right place, just like that. And then we're going to get some pins, and we're just going to pin these. And as I'm pinning, I'm constantly just double checking that, again, I have it in the right place. This one was, once it's pinned, it's fine. But I'm constantly checking as I put pins in, I have it in the right place. All right. And then when we sew, I want you to make sure that you're not sewing this edge, that you're sewing this edge. Okay. So we'll do that in a minute. Let me go ahead and pin the rest of these, and I'll show you what the 2 sets look like when I've got it done. I've just thought of something else that I feel like I need to tell you. Doing it consistently on every single one of these, it's what's going to ensure that your points line up. If you don't do it consistently, you're going to have no way of getting your points to line up. All right. So, and what I mean by consistent, it's unlike just making sure that this strip is falling in the exact same place on every single one of my backgrounds for the star points. All right. So I'm all pinned for my A fabric, and I've got 4 that look like this and 4 that look like this. And after we get A fabric done, this, again, starts getting more fluid. You'll know where to put B. You'll know where to put C. And we won't have to we won't have to be over the top about our placement. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the sewing machine. I'm not going to video this part, but you're going to be sewing from here to here. And I want you to double check that you're sewing on this side of your A fabric, not this side, because that would be wrong. So right there, okay? I'm going to sew these, and then we will press them together. All right, so here we are. I have them done, just so you can see them. That's what they end up looking like. So there's my stitches right there, and I'll be able to do that little number. But before I do that, I'm going to get these all the seams set, and that is just placing my iron and setting that seam. And don't do this. You want to go up and down, or you're going to warp these units. So I'm just going to do this for each of them. All right, so now I want to press always in the direction of the background, and then we're just going to do this little number, smooth it with our hands before the iron, and again, that is just to get a great press and not warp anything. We're doing this. All right, so it should look something, you know, like that. And again, you're not doing this. You're lifting and lowering. All right, I'm going to do the rest of these on my own exactly the way I did this one, and then we'll get ready for fabric B. All right, I'm going to do one more of these with you, and then you're probably going to just have it. All right, so here is my unit. Wait a minute, let me turn these in the right way so I don't get confused. Everything in the right direction. All right, top of my unit, bottom of my unit. And we're going to be sewing the B fabric onto the bottom, right? And then this time we don't have to use those marked lines. Now we can just use our A fabric, and that was one of the reasons why you needed to be very, very consistent with where you placed this, because it decides the placement of all the strips, you know, after it. All right, here's B fabric. And again, I'm going to put a little overhang here and a lot of overhang here. And what you're seeing is when I put it down, you've got, you know, this right here. So it's not going, you know, the exact same place. You just move it down like that. And if you want to double check yourself, you can flip it like this. And just make sure that it's covering all parts of the background. All right, so I get it in place. Okay, so here's something that I do want you to watch out for. When I'm going to pin this, I don't want to go through the background. I want to only go through my strips, because I'm going to move that background out of the way when I sew these. All right, so I'm going to pick these up. I'm picking these up. See how I'm not getting the background? And I'm going to put a pin right there. And then I'm going to do this all the way down the length of the two strips. All right, and then just for a visual, that's what we're doing right there, okay? I'm going to do the rest of these like that, and then I'm going to go and sew them. And I want, when you sew these together, what you're going to do is you're going to lift this up, push the background that way, so that when I sew these together, I'm not actually sewing them on the background. The background is just a guide. We're going to cut this away and not use it. The bottom of it is. The top of it we're going to use. So I'm going to go and sew, and I'm going to sew right here, right? And I'm not going to get any of that background. So that's what we're going to do. I will show it to you when I've got them all done. All right. So here's what this is looking like now. There's my stitches. And you can see that I went like that every time when I was sewing these together. And another thing I wish I had pointed out to you is that I'm sewing, you know, all the way down this strip, not just where the background stops. So all the way down the length of it. And then now I'm going to set my seam again. Just doing this, quick and easy, setting ourselves up for success. And then we're going to pull this down, smooth it with our fingers, and then press. All right, and that's the way we're going to do all of these strips that are going to go right here. So if you're looking at your pattern, it is detailing which strip, A, B, C, and then I think we start over. But that is how you're going to do all of these strips, just the exact same way. And just remember to always keep putting your overhang. When you get down into this area, like with C, this overhang is going to matter even more. Just make sure that you're putting the majority of your overhang over here and not over here. And then that's what it looks like on the other side. So looking like that. A little tedious, but it makes for a very unique star point. So yeah, I'm going to finish these up on my own and then get everything sewn into place. And I think it's A, B, C, D, A, B again. But look at your pattern so that you'll know that for sure. And when we're ready, when we have them all sewn, I'll come back. We'll cut these together. All right, so here is where we're at with pieces that look something like this. And once you have it all pressed, you're going to flip this over. It should look something like that. And you're going to want to make sure smooth this out. And if it just barely covers that corner, that's the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to just barely cover it. And if it's not covering it, I would check my seam allowance because you might have something off there. But if you used your 1/4 inch seam allowance, everything should be good. You're going to take your ruler and you're going to use this background as your guide, right? So we're going to line up the ruler with the background fabric, right? And cut just like that. It this way. And just, again, smooth everything out. Line up the ruler with the background. And cut. And one more time. Line up the ruler with the background on this final side. And cut. All right. So now it's going to look like this. Now you're going to take this and fold it back. All right. And now you're going to line up that ruler with the seam allowance of your fabric A. Line it up like that. All right, and this is for your scrap bin. And then the unit is going to look like that. I'm going to finish that for this one, and then we're going to pin them together so we can make our star points. All right, so now you should have something looks like that. And we're just going to put these right sides together and turn them this way. And the first place I want to pin is right here. So you're just going to line those seams up, just like that. And then go ahead and put a pin directly in that stitch line. All right, and now we're gonna just pin this top one. And I'm gonna put 2 pins in this background space. All right, and I also want to pin everywhere the seams meet. So right there. And then, right here. And right in the stitch line. Okay. I'm going to do that for all these units, but we're going to go and sew a 1/4 inch right through there. All right. So here we go. That looks like that. And we're going to set these seams before we press the seams open. So let's take a minute and do that. And setting the seams like this is correcting any tiny little tension your sewing put into the patchwork piece, and it makes the seam a little bit more pliable where you can move it where you need to move it a little bit more easily. Oop. So just give it a little set. Then we're going to press this seam open. We're going to turn it like this. And I'm pulling it taut, but don't over pull it because all of these are on the bias, and that means this piece needs to be treated like a precious little baby. We're going to slip our finger into the seam like that, and then press it open. flip it over. I'm gonna get my starch, and I'm gonna spray. Pretty much gonna spray this whole unit because I haven't starched it yet, but press again. I'm gonna press until the starch droplets all dry. Let me put a little bit of starch on here, and this is just make those bias cuts behave a little bit better. So just a really, really good idea to use your pressing spray, right? And that is what it should look like. Hopefully most of the time your points meet up. If your points aren't meeting up, just remember that this is an intermediate pattern and it is a tough one. So I hope you enjoyed the foundation piecing and learning how to do that. Let me just give you a look there. I find this so much fun, and I can't wait to see my quilt come together. I hope you enjoyed it.